NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Hercules Tire.
60 minutes of local, regional, and touring series interviews, news, and opinion. Now a couple of guys whose parents never had one of those, "My child is an honor student at," stickers on their car. Kyle Rickey and Buddy Law.
Champions everywhere as we talk with NASCAR title holders in 3 NASCAR tours coast to coast and abroad this hour. NASCAR Southern Modified Champion was crowned last Thursday at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in Burt Myers. One of the youngest NASCAR champions will join us from the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East in Justin Haley. And now a 2-time NASCAR Whelen Euro champ will join us in Anthony Kumpen. Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast for Wednesday, October 12th, 2016. Kyle Rickey, Buddy Long.
Hi, Kyle.
This week. Welcome back.
It's nice to be back.
It's been a while. Although
It seems like more than a week or 2 weeks. Andy Seiss
did a nice job.
had to take a break. Yes, he did. Did a very good job. Trying to win 3 in a row in the championship, but unfortunately fell a little bit short in what was a very competitive season for that series.
Had a very rough night at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Was able to watch the event following pole qualifying for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, and I believe it was lap 3 he was caught up in a wreck. And from there on out was never really a factor. Raced his way back up to 7th from the 16th spot, but never challenged for the win, and it not only cost him the championship, which would have been tough to get Burt anyway, but it cost him 2nd in the title fight as George Brunholzl III was able to pass him for 2nd.
Yeah, and you talk about those big 3. Ryan Preece, as many people know, won the event. He'd been trying for so many times to win in Charlotte. He's done so well on the Southern Tour with a few victories, but not at Charlotte. That had evaded him. And when you look at the series overall, I think they can be very proud of what they had, especially late in the season. When you look at Bobby Meismer, who we had on the show a few weeks back, James Savali following him up with their first victories, and as I mentioned before, a very good season for Kyle Bonsignore. It paints a good picture if all these drivers are coming back in the 2017 season, in addition to the big 3, plus Jason Myers, Kyle Ebersol, J.R. Bertuccio, and so many other drivers.
Danny Bone has been in and amongst that mix as well. In fact, he finished in the top 5 this past weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway, in fact, last week. Let's take a look at the results now. Their season finale a week ago, Ryan Preece picked up the race win, led most of the second half of the event over George Brunholzl III. James Savali came down from the north to finish in the 3rd spot. Danny Bone, Bobby Meismer Jr., a recent winner on the tour, finished in the top 5. Burt Myers 6th, and that's all he really needed to do. Just start the event and bide his time to win win his 2nd championship. Andy Seiss needed to win the event and have Burt have trouble. That did not happen. Andy struggled to a 7th place effort. Kyle Bonsignore, as Buddy mentioned, has shown well this year in the South, finished in 8th. Jason Myers 9th, and Trey Hutchins 3rd rounded out the top 10. And in the final championship standings, it was a 20-point gap, I believe, at the finish between Burt Myers and George Brunholzl III. Just a few more points back to Andy Seiss. In fact, 3 points back. Then Danny Bone, good solid effort in 4th. Bobby Meismer Jr. rounded out the top 5 in the championship standings. You're right, a healthy series at times, and then you go to some tracks and there's only 10 or 11 cars there late in the season. But, overall, very solid fields for the South.
And I think we've seen that their northern counterpart, to a degree, not the modifieds, but stock car counterparts in the Pinty series, when they travel a little bit. Not every racetrack will have the numbers of a Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And there were a couple races they had this year that were around 12 or 13 entries, but what you have there is very good and something to build off of. It's not like it's a series like, oh, shoot, they only got 10 cars. I should do well here. It's going to be a tough 10 to break into.
Absolutely. So the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour season in the books, and we'll talk with the series champion, Burt Myers, coming up here in a little bit. His 2nd series championship and 1st in 6 years, I believe. Because it's
2010.
It's been Andy Seiss and GB3 that has won most of the titles between then and now. So the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, they ran at the Stafford Motor Speedway, and kudos to the Arute family. They could have pulled the plug at 12 noon on Sunday afternoon when the remnants of Hurricane Matthew struck the East Coast, but they did not. They knew it was going to clear by 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which it did, and the race fans that stuck around and were there all weekend for fall final saw a pretty pretty entertaining show on Sunday night.
I have to agree. I was up in Maryland over the weekend after we got rained out, and we pulled the plug Tuesday evening of last week for an event in Kershaw, South Carolina. And you never know. I mean, but when you've got a hurricane in your face, I mean, it's one thing to know the rain is coming and promoters have called the event early in the day or even a couple of days early, and it ends up being sunny. That's one thing.
Right.
When you have a hurricane and the governor is evacuating part of the state, I think you pretty much know we better cancel this or postpone it. But even more so, I mean, that's the devastation that was down here in the South, and our thoughts and prayers go to the people in the eastern state of North Carolina, just massive devastation there with all the flooding. But it got up into Maryland. It was an all-day rainy Saturday, and I thought about that. Super Dirt Week at Oswego,
yep.
They obviously had issues with the track and, of course, some potholes forming. And I thought about the fall final. It's like, I wonder how they're making out. And I agree with you. I support that 100%. Good call.
And they used a feature that we've been using a lot here at Motor Racing Network, Facebook Live, to keep fans up to date. Jack LaRoute Jr., who a Motor Racing Network alumni, promotes the activity up there at the Stafford Motor Speedway, a family-owned track. And every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, he's on Facebook Live with another driver from the NASCAR Whelen
Now, is he putting
Tour.
his face on Facebook Live,
he's
too?
Putting his face
well, that's
on
comedy
Facebook
at
Live.
its best, then.
So it was fun to watch because we were obviously at the Charlotte Motor Speedway running the Sprint Cup race and the Xfinity race. and between races, I was checking in to see what was going on at Stafford. And there's Jackie with an update with all the modified tour drivers, several of them during the course of the afternoon. So kudos to the LaRoute family and Doug Coby, who picked up the win when the checkered flag flew late that evening.
Yeah, and I think if Stafford was the only track on the schedule for the Whelen Modified Tour, he would have won this championship long ago, taking the third of 4 race wins at Stafford this year. Timmy Solomito continues to have a very good season, although a couple slips late in the year has kind of taken him out of that points chase. Jimmy Blewett, Justin Bonsignor, as well as Chase Dowling, the Rookie of the Year a year ago, having a very good run up in the top 5. You had Rowan Pennick on the show. He's done good in Old Blue, coming away with a good 6th-place run as well.
The SK Modified champion at Stafford Speedway finished in the 6th spot. Mac Zackham, Matt Swanson, Woody Pitkat, another SK Modified regular at Stafford every Friday night, finished in the 9th position. And Sean Solomito, who had such a great season at the Riverhead Raceway on Long Island, rounded out the top 10. Another competitive field, 25 cars strong. And, Doug Coby, what can you say? 20 points now. I believe it's 20. Heading to Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. It is, because there's the point standings over Justin Bonsignor. Timmy Solomito, 48 back and out of contention for the title. Max Zackham, a good season, along with Ronnie Silk, rounding out the top 5. My favorite weekend of the year in short track racing this coming weekend at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. 18 divisions and 330 race cars set to take to the Thompson 5/8 mile.
And even though Stafford, or he hasn't got the same results at Thompson as he has at Stafford, he does have a 2nd, a 4th, and an 11th earlier this year in the 3 events at Thompson. It's not in the bag because Justin's had a very strong late season. It's going to be tough to unseat Doug Coby, though. It's really going to be hard.
And I expect they'll get 26 or 28 cars.
Yeah.
If Doug has a problem early and falls out of the top 20, say he's running 22nd or 23rd behind the wall, Timmy could win the championship if he wins the race.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a top 3 finish. So there is still a shot, but Timmy's going to have a real, or Justin.
Yeah.
Justin's going to have to have a really good day, and Doug's going to have something happen early. And at Thompson, I mean, you never know.
And I think you're going to see them right up there in the thick of the battle, right down to the wire, just like they have been most of the year. And again, it's just so wild because last year it was Woody Pitkat and Ryan Preece along with Doug Coby. And this year it's Justin and Timmy. They've been right there with Coby as well. It's just been phenomenal. You just change a couple of the figures, but the battle and the level of competition is just as intense this year as it was last season.
This is the widest gap I think we've seen in a while as well. 20 points between the top 2, usually a little closer between 2 or 3 drivers heading to Thompson. So that's this coming weekend. Another NASCAR series wrapped up this past weekend, the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and another familiar face in victory lane and on the championship stage this December will be Anthony Kumpen, picking up his 2nd series title in 3 years.
Yeah, one of the more charismatic drivers that we've seen. We've really enjoyed our time spent with him ever since he won his first championship, and he enjoyed him at Charlotte a couple of years ago, and obviously you did at the karting track as well, but what a great experience. I mean, he had a good season in a very competitive series that is gaining more attention worldwide. But basically, coming away with a huge victory and in your home country with all your friends and family right there. It can't get any better than that.
At the Zolder Circuit in Belgium, picked up the race win in race number 1, finished second in the second race to his closest competitor, Frederick Gabelon, picking up the win, the season finale, but fell just short of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Championship. Anthony Kumpen will join us here in a little bit on NASCAR Coast to Coast, but when we come back, we'll talk open wheel racing and this year's Bowman Gray champ and the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified champ, Burt Myers, on the guest line.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle has a bumpy ride, it might be time for new shocks or struts. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, buy 4 Monroe shocks and struts for the price of 3 after mail-in rebate. Improve your vehicle's steering, stopping, and stability with Monroe shocks and struts at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
Ever wish your kid came with an instruction manual? I'm behavioral therapist James Lehman, and I'll show you how to change your child's behavior now with the Total Transformation, the program that helps stop defiance, backtalking, lying, acting out in school, even problems with ADD and ADHD. There's no screaming, no fighting, no frustration. Your child will listen to you again. I guarantee it.
Change your child's behavior now with the Total Transformation. Call now. 1-800-406-2945. 1-800-406-2945.
This is NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour driver Ryan Preece, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to you, Kyle and Buddy.
And Ryan will be with us next week here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. We hope. He's a busy boy these days, running the Kansas race this weekend in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Then is going to fly to Thompson and run and challenge for the SK Modified Championship there, plus run the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And he's just off a race win this past Thursday night at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
One quick question. Was he, if the weather wasn't the way it was this weekend, was he going to be able to get back to Stafford and run the fall final?
Yes.
He was going to.
Yeah. He was
that
going to
would
try
have been interesting.
But the Xfinity race would have had to run on Friday night for him to get back. And once he missed qualifying on Saturday at Stafford, even if the fall final was going to be postponed potentially, they weren't going to allow him to run it because he was concerned about that as well. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, busy guy, and hopefully he'll be with us next week on our show. Joining us on the show now, Burt Myers, a two-time champion this season and two-time champion on the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour now. Burt, congratulations. A great season for you and your team once again. Must have been nice, though, last Thursday night at the Charlotte Motor Speedway to not have to worry about points and counting cars and figuring out who's running where. You could just run your race.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I saw the entry list. It had 16 cars on it. And, everybody was, well, you got 16 cars, all you got to do is start. I said, well, when I get there and I go through the garage and I actually count the modifieds that are sitting there, I'll feel a whole lot better. But, I've been blessed, guys. At Bowman Gray, all I had to do was start. On the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour, all I had to do was start. I don't think we've had the wins that we wanted this year, but the consistency has been so solid. And to be able to just start the race and just go run your race and not have to worry about it, it sure took a lot of stress out of my life.
Burt, other than the consistency, what has it been that has put this team in such a great groove to put you in that position where you only had to start at Bowman Gray and only had to start at the finale for the Whelen Southern Modified Tour? What has, other than that consistency, what other things can you put your finger on that has led to the success this year?
Well, we've that's the major part of it. I think it is a testament to our dedication, our hard work, to make sure that we don't have any failures. We're not one of these teams, and I'm sure most of the competitive teams are the same in the same boat as we are. But we're not one of these teams who unloads the car on Thursday and knocks the dust off of it and loads it back up. You know, we unload on Monday, and you know, we've got our checklist of things that we go through. Of course, you can't ever count out, you know, bad luck and mechanical failures here and there, but we've been very fortunate this year that we haven't had any of those. I haven't had a DNF all year in NASCAR, at Bowman Gray on the tour, or in the past series. So, you know, it's been a great season. I tell you, it's one of those deals where as long as the train will let you ride on it, man, you ride on it. Because one of these days that train's going to be like a bull and it's going to kick you off, and you got to figure out a way to scratch back and get back up on it. But this year has just been a great season for us. The LFR chassis with the NASCAR Institute spec engines that we're running, it's been a dream season, guys.
That train was at the Charlotte Motor Speedway last Thursday night, a 6th-place effort there. Kind of bring us through your race. Never really contended for the win, but it didn't seem like anybody had anything for George Brunholzl III and Ryan Preece, especially in the first half of that race.
Well, I would like to have got up there and showed my hand. You know, we went for it. On the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour, there was the pole award, contingency award for the year-end pole award was up for grabs. Danny Bone had 3 and I had 2, so if I had gotten the pole, that would have given me the pole award because of the point standing. So we went for it, and we threw too much stagger at it, trying to go for it, and missed it just a little bit, qualified 5th. But I thought the good side to that was that we were going to start on the inside road. We went down into 3 on the very first lap, and they jammed up in front of us, and that put me 6th on the restart. So if you can imagine at Charlotte Motor Speedway being a flat quarter mile and tight turns, anybody that's never been there, if you've been to Bowman Gray, it's actually tighter corners than Bowman Gray. So when you get hung out there on the outside, it's tough to get back in line. And I think I got back in line in 8th. The next restart, we got going. I got back to 6th, so of course I'm on the outside again. So we had a really good car, and it's like I told Derek Persiglio in the post-race interview. It's one of those deals where you know, the fish was this big. I had a great car. I just never got a chance to show it. And unfortunately, it was our worst finish of the year for the NASCAR Tour. So it was a little bit disappointing on that end, but whenever we sprayed that champagne in the air in victory lane for the championship, it kind of took some of that sting away.
Well, you were the rolling billboard that I saw first thing Thursday morning. I'm leaving my house. I'm on exit 55 on I-85, which is just 6 miles from the Speedway Boulevard exit. Coming down the ramp, there is a motorhome with a smaller trailer that says Myers Brothers Racing. I know that's not the big hauler that carries the modifieds, and actually I stopped at a convenience store on Speedway Boulevard. When I walked out, there was the motorhome and the trailer sitting along on the side of the building. And I don't think it was you driving or Jason, but I guess what I'm trying to get to is I know there's such a strong family influence between you and Jason, not just as brothers running the series, but other members and parts of your family that so support both of you. Kind of take us through the others that are a big part of your racing career, not just at Bowman Gray, but in these tour races as well.
Well, of course, our mom and dad's. Mama usually comes in a little bit later in the afternoon, but that was probably, if it was a little older, gray-headed, well, he's not gray, it's white-headed with a mustache. That was Daddy. He usually drives that motorhome. Yeah, that's our backup car for me or Jason, whichever one of us were to need it. But you know, the thing about it is, guys, whether it's a uncle or a friend, the guys that have been helping us, except for a couple that have come in the last recent years, guys that we went to school with. You know, and when I say school, I mean grade school. Guys that we've known our whole lives that have the same dedication and passion that we have. You have to have that at our level. And I've said it so many times, I sound like a broken record. At our level, it's like having a boat. You put all your time and all your effort and all your money into that boat, and the enjoyment you get is riding it on the weekend. If you can ride that boat on the weekend and not go broke and not have your wife leave you, you've had a successful season. So that's kind of where we are. And we don't, you know, our guys are not paid. I do what I can to buy pit passes and stuff like that, but our guys do it because they love it. They take off work and they spend time away from their family, just like me and Jason do, of course. And they do it because they love it, man. I mean, to be able to experience the things we've experienced, God has blessed me so much. I can't even begin to start a list of the things that I've been blessed with, and I don't deserve it any more than anybody else. I just try to do the best I can with it, and we've given our lives to racing. It goes all the way back to my grandpa. Everybody knows that he died leading the race, had a heart attack leading the race at Bowman Gray on a white flag lap. And then, of course, Bobby died in one of Petty's cars at Darlington in a crash. So when we say, as the Myers family, we've given our lives to racing, our family has given our lives to racing. So it's what we do, it's what we are, and we're proud to say that we do that.
And that's why they call these NASCAR home tracks the heart and soul of NASCAR,
yes.
because it is that passion that we hear coming from Burt right now.
It's old school.
Absolutely,
good.
And that's what we need more of, I think, on the national levels when we start talking about the top 3 series of this sport. It's been 6 years, Burt, since you won your first NASCAR Whelen Modified title. How does this one compare and stack up, and how is it different?
Well, yeah, I've been asked that question about a dozen times since last Thursday, and I keep trying to wrap my head around it. It's like I've said then, and I'll say it again. That first one is always a little bit more special because it is your first one, and I've been blessed to be able to win championships in other series, whether it be NASCAR or whatever else, and I've won a track championship a state championship, but when you win that NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour Championship and you're in Charlotte for that banquet, and Mike Hilton presents you your championship ring, which looks like Ray Lewis's Super Bowl ring he shows off on Sundays. Man, that's just – there's no way to describe that. So to know I think the most exciting part to me at this moment, and I'm sure my emotions are running wild and I'm sure it'll change, but at 40 years old, I still feel like that little kid at Christmas time thinking about going to that banquet and going up there on stage and making a speech and accepting my second ring from Mike Hilton. So they all have a special meaning to them, but there's something about that atmosphere of the banquet in Charlotte, the awards banquet, that just, man, it gets you excited. And there's a lot of times you think about, I got to get dressed up and I got to make a speech, and I don't want to sound like I'm being arrogant by any means, but there's something about that banquet in Charlotte that just gets you excited, and to think about the idea of getting my second championship is amazing. But as Myers Racing, as we always do, I'm thinking ahead to 2017 to get that third one.
And it's a spectacular function that's put on down at in uptown Charlotte, I should say, in the Grand Ballroom right next to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I went last year for the first time, and I just was absolutely in awe.
Yep.
Not only the Whelen All-American Series banquets that they do on Friday night, but then the Touring Series that they do on Saturday. Kyle and I were alluding, Burt, it's a tough nut to crack to get Bowman Gray's championship and then the Whelen Southern Modified Tour title, but the parity that continues to evolve in this series, it's not one that's got the largest car count, but what is there, and we've said this so many times, and you've been a part of this, is very tough. Last year, in addition to you and Jason, Georgie, Andy, we added Kyle Ebersol, J.R. Bertuccio. Now you're adding Bobby Meismer, James Savali, Kyle Bonsignor. It looks like it continues to evolve. What is there is getting tougher and tougher.
Well, it's just the passion, the dedication that these guys and these teams have. And, for example, Bobby Meismer, he's been racing his whole life. And he's teamed up with Kevin Hughes, who's been racing his whole life. So Bonsignor, who I didn't know, I wasn't very familiar with Kyle until he started racing with us, but the Bonsignor name, who's been racing Northern Modified. There's just so much family, so much dedication there that, like you alluded to, at our level, it's about that. It's like I tell people, when your race shop is bigger than your house, you're a true racer. But it's that way. And I think that I'm not slighting NASCAR by any means, but I think that the average blue-collar, hardcore race fan can relate to the home tracks better than they can relate to the NASCAR Cup Series. And it's just it's a vicious cycle that is snowballed into what it is. So I'm not, like I said, we wouldn't be where we were if it hasn't gotten to that level. But the fact that it's family oriented, I think my mom, I've said this before, my mom said on the Madhouse TV show, racing is what's kept our family together. And I think that anybody in a racing community and in a racing family has worked so hard to get to that point where they are. that's what makes it what it is today. So, yeah, it's a lot of times we go to the racetrack and we've got 14, 15 cars. But let me tell you something: 7 or 8 of them can win the race. You don't have to have 30 cars to make a good race. So our races have been good, even though our car count's been a little bit off. They've been good, and it's some new names popping up. So I hope there's a repeat champion, a back-to-back champion next year, but you never can tell.
That's the thing. The racing is good with smaller car counts, and then you go to some of these tracks that have 30 cars, but it takes 3 hours to run the feature because there's 15 cautions and 3 red flags and cleanup, and then people complain about that. So sometimes smaller is better, and I think we're seeing that on the NASCAR Southern Modified Tour because the quality is top-notch. We haven't really touched on Bowman Gray, so before we let you go, want to touch on that. You're going to be busy in December winning not only the NASCAR Whelen Modified title and getting that ring in the South, but also your 7th Bowman Gray championship. Another great season for you at the stadium. Kind of, it seemed like another healthy season for the stadium as far as the crowd was concerned and the car counts in all the classes.
Yeah, the car count at Bowman Gray has always been a little bit higher than what it would be around the country. They've got that lightning in a bottle over there at Bowman Gray Stadium. But I think at Bowman Gray it was the same scenario we had on the NASCAR World Southern Modified Tour is our consistency. We did not have a DNF. I only had 2 wins with 1 pole, which was a little bit disappointing because we do go every week to win the race. But I think our worst finish was an 8th place finish. So, as long as I can remember, maybe back in my early days of going to Bowman Gray, I can remember someone basically only having to start the race to win the championship. So, that's something that I take pride in, to know that you had that big a lead going into that first race, or in that last race, excuse me. But Bowman Gray is Bowman Gray, and you can do all the right things and have the best car, and you can be the best driver, and that doesn't mean it's going to be your night. So we had a lot of luck this year. We had, like I said, no DNFs. So it was just a great year. I mean, I'm really excited to go to Charlotte. Like I said, I get to go to Friday night's banquet and be recognized as Bowman Gray champion, and of course go to Saturday night's banquet for the Southern Modified champion. And I know a lot of people may not want to talk about it, but I am tied for the lead in the Southern Modified Racing Series past Modified Series that started this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, if I could get that Triple Crown next weekend at Caraway, I'd be a happy man.
And I think it says a lot. 8th place, your worst finish at Bowman Gray. I mean, with everything that goes on there, with all the different ways they qualify the cars and get the starting lineups with blind draws and pill draw, I mean, there's a lot that goes on there, and to finish 8th as your worst finish is saying something. Burt, as always, congratulations. Best of luck with that Triple Crown with the past finale coming up here in another week or so.
Well, I sure appreciate it, guys. And like I said, I want to throw that. You asked me about consistency. I don't know that there's many teams that can say this. I want to throw this out there real quick. On all the racing we've done this year in every series, we've had 14 second-place finishes.
God.
So if that's not consistency, I don't know what is. If I could have just won half of those, we'd be talking some big numbers. But like I said, it's a testament to my guys, my team, my family, my sponsors, of course, that helped me do it. So and then you guys being able to help us get exposure and promote us in this way. So we sure appreciate it. I always love talking with you guys. And we look forward to talking to you in a couple of months' time when we head down to the banquets in December. Congratulations again, Burt. Thank you.
Burt Myers, your 2-time NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified champion and your 7-time Modified champion at the Madhouse. Unbelievable numbers
always
again.
A great interview. It's always, it's going to be a good Wednesday when Burt Myers is going to be on. One
of the, I guess you could call it the more veteran champions that we have on the NASCAR schedule in Burt Myers. When we come back, one of the newest champions in Justin Haley from the K&N East Series after the break.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
Ready to take the training wheels off your race scanner? Go to fanvision.com and upgrade your experience with FanVision. Not only will you be able to hear the race,
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets a good run, drafting help from Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Jr. again pulls up alongside for the race lead.
you'll see every moment through live video, instant replays, live stats, and more.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, driver of the #1 Cessna Chevrolet, and I never go to the track without my FanVision. So go to fanvision.com to rent or buy yours today.
Are you in the concrete, construction, or waste industry? Are repair bills starting to pile up as your current mixer, dump, or waste truck starts to show its age? Before you make that plunge, consider an alternative to buying new. The Housby 2G second generation program is the complete refurbishment of your existing used trucks without the hefty price tag that comes with it. Extend the life of your current trucks today and give yourself an economic alternative to that new truck price. For more information, visit Housby.com. Housby, an official sponsor of NASCAR for over 40 years.
This is NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series driver Spencer Davis, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to you, Kyle and Buddy.
All right, thank you very much, Spencer, a driver that was kind of part of the NASCAR Next Deal. It is part of the NASCAR Next Deal. Had a busy week last week, traveling to all the different events here in Charlotte, including Sound Garage, Ganassi Racing, and was paired up with a Sprint Cup team last Saturday.
He'll show his versatility because he's already going to be coming to Daytona for Kart Week, running on the dirt track as well.
Busy guy.
He always remembers his roots also.
Let's talk to another champion now here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. The NASCAR K&N Pro Series East wrapped up their season just over a week ago, almost 2 weeks now, at Dover International Speedway in Delaware at the Monster Mile. And coming out on top of the series championship at the end of that evening was Justin Haley, and he joins us now on the guest line. Justin, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. 22 points between you and Kyle Benjamin at the finish. Congratulations on your first NASCAR championship.
Thank you, guys. It was a pretty killer season we had.
Multiple wins, and I guess, let's see, you're fourth at the season finale in Dover 2 weeks ago. You led 42 laps. Let's start there at Dover. Kind of bring us through your race in the finale. You led a bunch of laps. What caused you to fall back late?
Yeah, one of the biggest things at Dover, the K&N car's aero. So starting on the pole is a huge advantage for the number 5 team. We got out, led a lot of laps, and Kyle really couldn't do anything because he was just getting aero tight every time he tried to make a move. And then on the late restart there before the halfway break, he kind of just got a run on me and got me a little loose in my left rear quarter panel and got around me. And then, we were put in a bad lane a few times on a restart and stuff like that. So we just kind of fell back, and there was a point with about 10 to go where I probably could have went up there and challenged for something, but I really didn't didn't feel like doing that. So just came home with another top 5 finish. I feel like we've had a ton of top 5 finishes this year, which is, it's pretty great. So, just very thankful to have been had a fast and reliable car at Dover to close off the season.
And we just wrapped up with Burt Myers, a driver that won the Whelen Southern Modified Tour Championship. He only needed to start the event, and obviously everything was good for him. Kyle Benjamin was relentless with you pretty much at the tail end of the season. He wouldn't let you out of his sights. You had a fairly comfortable lead, but not enough where you could go to Dover knowing that you had it locked up. Kyle pretty much kept you honest and eventually took the victory at the Dover in the season finale. Do you feel like even though you want to be in a comfort zone late in the season, it was still, looking back, more beneficial to know that you still had somebody breathing down your neck when it comes to a maturation process of continuing to be put in situations like that, knowing all the way through to the end of the season you got to do what you got to do to win that race, not just that championship?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty solid deal. We didn't close it up totally, and I think that just shows the competition. But no, having Kyle Benjamin and Rainier Racing with MDM, they were really, really fast at every track, and they definitely gave us the competition that we needed. So he never let me just break away. Like, we got to that 20 to 25 point gap, and we just kind of stayed there and rode there. And I fight hard and I feel like I would have a good race, and he'd have a good race, and he would have a great race, and I would have a good race. So we were just bouncing points back and forth. So I never could break away, but I was very thankful that we never had a bad race where he could gain and try to catch us. So yeah, it was definitely a challenge. It's something I'm new to. I've never raced like that in a championship style form. Last year I did, but I mean we really weren't close enough to be doing that at the end of the season. So it was definitely new for me and something that I didn't quite enjoy doing, but it all paid off.
Let's talk about that consistency for a moment. 2 wins, 13 top 5 finishes, and 14 starts. Your worst finish was a 9th at Mobile, I guess the second or third race of the season. Chris Wright, the series director, just texted me and said 3.4 was your average finish, probably among the best of series champions ever in that series. Are remarkable stats. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, man, I feel like all of our success this year came from the shop. The guys at H-Cal, Justin Marks, we unloaded the car, and we didn't have to change much. So that is just attributes to my crew chief and just everyone that puts their hearts and sweat and tears into building these cars. Not only were they fast, but they were reliable. So that one place at Mobile where I finished 9th, that was a tribute to my own fault. I cut down on a restart and got black flagged and had to fight back up through the field. If I wouldn't have done that, we probably could have easily got another top 5. So as much as I hate it, it's still a pretty good stat to have a 3.4 finish average. And it's just, testimony to what we did and what we could do and, how consistently fast and reliable we always were.
And looking at an even bigger picture, when you talk about that Mobile event, it's a testament to the H-Scott Motorsports with Justin Marks' team. That is an event in which your teammate, Tyler Dipple, came away with his lone victory of the year. You look at the points. Obviously, you took the championship. Tyler came on 3rd, Hunter Bays 4th, Harrison Burton 7th. A very solid year for the H-Scott Motorsports crew, given the fact that you were the only driver that was coming back that had been a part of this team in the previous year and also following in the footsteps in the last couple of seasons of a Ben Rhodes and a William Byron. It just says so much about this organization.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that, can't get overlooked is H-Scott with Justin Marks has been doing this for 4 years, and 4 years in a row we have championships, and in those 4 years, the majority of the cars have been in the top 3 or top 4 in points. So that's pretty incredible that we bring such great cars to the racetrack, and the talent is always there. I enjoyed working with Hunter Bays and Tyler Dipple and Harrison Burton at the racetrack, off the racetrack at the shop. It was cool to get to know some new kids and create them into familiar faces. So it was definitely a lot of fun racing with my teammates this year and seeing what they could bring to the table.
Nice getting to know some new kids, and I think he's right. The average
Keyword
age
kids
is about 17 years old. Last 4 championships in the K&N Pro Series East have come from H. Scott Motorsports with Justin Marks, Dylan Kwasniewski in 2013, Ben Rhodes in 2014, William Byron last year, and Justin, of course, winning it this year. But you were 6th in points a year ago in your rookie season. How much more comfortable were you at these racetracks this season and in a heavier K&N car, a heavier stock car than what you were used to coming in? And how much do you think that contributed to this championship run, just being more comfortable in the NASCAR atmosphere?
Yeah, I think last year we brought a lot of speed to the racetrack, and we had times in races where, we were setting up to have a pretty good finish or, even a win like last year at Phoenix before we got it taken away from us. But no, I remember sitting at the banquet last year with my 6th place trophy, and everyone, my crew and my family looked around me and said, we got this. We're going to do this. This is ours to lose. So, that was pretty cool to have the support and confidence. We brought a new crew chief, Shannon Roosh. He was a huge help. We clicked, right off the bat, and he gave me so much confidence and motivation to go out there and, really take my ability and what I could do to the maximum. So, it was just super cool to have the motivation and confidence, and I think that's what really helped me this year. It was just knowing I could do it, and especially after the win at Greenville, that kind of a moment where I just stopped and was like, you know, I can do this. This is something I want to do, and, you know, we can get this championship. So just building the confidence and, you know, having the momentum was something I really cherished.
We touched on it earlier this year with you when you were on the show, and also Kyle just alluded to it at the age of 17, I believe. Mm-hmm. One of the veterans that has been on this program, and we kind of kidded you about that because you seem to be one of the more veteran leaders in the pit area. Knowing that you had 3 new teammates this year, aside from those 3 drivers, and knowing that they have, some of them are veteran crew chiefs or people that know the tracks that you've been to, did you have a lot of other drivers that knew that you were the veteran, so to speak, on the series come to you and kind of get your opinion on getting around the track?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, Noah, Gregson, we always would talk, and some other drivers. Me and Kyle really never talked. We were kind of competitors there towards the end of the season, but at the road courses, we were always pretty good. I do a lot of road course racing, so a lot of the drivers would come up and ask gears and, you know, how to apex certain corners, what curving to use. So it was super cool to, you know, have these drivers come to me and look for me for experience and knowledge. So, you know, that's kind of a confidence booster. And, you know, I have Michael Self on the other end of my radio. He's my driver coach, and he helps me a lot. So not only do people come to me, but I always go to other people too. So you never can stop learning. You never can stop, you know, gathering in knowledge, and just becoming a sponge is something that's very important in racing.
Well, you look like a veteran out there, no doubt, all season long. One of the more veteran drivers on the tour in just your second season. Time is short. We got to let you go. But before we do, I want to ask you one final thing. How cool was it to carry that torch last week, the Indiana Bicentennial torch, through your hometown of Winnemac last week?
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool for Indiana to vote me. I got to carry the torch for the Bicentennial celebration through my hometown. So that was super cool. Took an ARCA car up there and did a few burnouts, stopped in front of my grandpa's house and took some pictures. So, you know, it was a special moment that I was recognized to that level, and I'm just glad I could go back to my hometown and, you know, just kind of rethink of where I grew up. So it was a cool moment.
I always stopped in front of Grandpa's house and did burnouts, but I didn't have a stock car to my advantage.
Indiana, of course, celebrating its 200th birthday this season, this year. Justin, congratulations again on the championship. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Justin Haley, your 2016 NASCAR K&N Pro Series East champion. When we come back, we go overseas and talk with this year's NASCAR Whelen Euro champion, that is, and Anthony Kumpen.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
There's a place where time stands still, but the clock always ticks. A place where the roots begin.
The heartland of stock car racing.
But the tree is still growing.
Green flag. It is out. Joey Logano on the...
It's Martinsville Speedway. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races back to the Half Mile of Mayhem October 30 for the Goodies Fast Relief 500. Tickets are on sale now. Call 877-RACE-TICK or visit martinsvillespeedway.com to purchase yours.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcast elevates your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Keselowski to the bottom of the racetrack. He tries to slide up. Newman is there. Sideways is Keselowski.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
This is NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour driver Bobby Santos, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
Bobby, of course, will be in action this weekend at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park in the season finale for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. Joined now by another one of our NASCAR champions for 2016. This time, the NASCAR Whelen Euro champion, and Anthony Kumpen. He's become a good friend of the show the last couple of years, ever since he picked up his first championship in 2014. And he was holding the championship trophy again this past weekend in Zolder. Anthony, welcome back to the show, and congratulations on championship number 2.
Thanks for having me, guys.
11 points, the gap between yourself and Frederic Gabelon in the season finale at Zolder. You won on day 1. You finished 7th on day 2. Was that any concern, knowing how tight the chase was?
Yeah, it was really tight, but after my win on Saturday, I knew Sunday I had to be in the top 10. So it was really tight. I knew Fred was going to give everything to win that race, and in the end, he won the Sunday race. And then, my goal was just to keep out of troubles for the Sunday race. But it was really tough, being in the middle of the pack is so easy when you're used to driving in the front, and you try to be conservative. But, you're racing with guys who don't know that well at that moment, and there were some little hits. But in the end, we made it home in 7th, which was enough to grab the championship, and really happy about that.
Well, it's always fun to win a title. It's always fun to win a second title. And it's definitely fun to win titles when you're in your home country with so many people that you know, friends and family members, and then to have multi-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion Jeff Gordon present a trophy to you in victory lane. Take us through all the emotions that you went through at that point.
Yeah, exactly. It's my home track. I live 10 miles from the track, so it's almost in my garden. So my first racing steps were on Zolder racetrack. And then Jeff's wife, Ingrid, she's from very close to where I live. She's from Belgium. And having Jeff over there, that's really special. He dropped me a mail like a few weeks before the race. Hey, I'm coming down to your race. And then already I was getting nervous. Oh, no, Jeff is going to watch me. And then in the end, winning the championship in front of Jeff and Ingrid and family, having them there, Jeff giving me the trophy. Jeff's nephew was working actually in my team as one of my chief mechanics. So it was really emotional. We had my fan club had over 10,000 fans coming down to the race. So it was a hectic weekend, but very emotional, and I'm really glad I could win in front of my own crowd.
Did he say 10,000?
Probably.
Holy cow. I saw some video of the race and the highlights of the race weekend earlier this week, and I guess you guys do like a pit party where the fans can come onto the racetrack, and you could barely see you in the crowd because there were so many people around you in your race car. It was unbelievable, and it sounds like a majority of them were in your fan club.
Yeah. The fan club really did an amazing job. It was fully packed, the race, and then I had so many fans down there, and Jeffy was Grand Marshal of the race, and he wanted to come and say hello before the start of the race, and it was really difficult to get in there, and he was surprised there were so many people. But the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series is growing big time, and then having it at home and with all those fans down there, it was amazing. It was a fantastic event, and running in front of the home crowd, it's something I will never forget. My first title was really special. This one at home is even more special than the first one.
And to kind of piggyback on what Kyle was talking about and yourself about the involvement, the continued involvement of this program, when I look back 2 or 3 years ago when we started covering this series, I kind of equate it to the what was formerly the Grand Am Series, now the WeatherTech Championship Series, for sports cars, because at that time when MRN was doing the broadcast, we stayed primarily to the prototype drivers who we were comfortable with. We eventually went to the GT drivers, and we became very close to them and enjoyed them. I look at this the same way. When this started, I want to say, in no disrespect, I'm not sure if you were there right at the very beginning, Andrew Villarino was the only name that really popped up into our minds because we were just getting acclimated to this program. Now I look at yourself. We've got Mark Goosens, Frederic Gabillon, Alon Day, Burt Longen, Gianmarco Roccoli, Ulysses Del So, who we saw at New Smyrna running cars. it has evolved incredibly, bleeding over into the States here. But talk about the involvement of this program in Europe.
Yeah, the series is growing very fast. I think it's the fastest growing racing series we have here in Europe. The Brands Hatch event, for example, it was sold out 3 months ahead of the event. It's something which doesn't happen a lot in racing over here in Europe. And then we have also new teams coming in since the playoffs. Like a month ago, we have a new team that came in, which is run by Alex Caffey, who is an ex-Formula One driver. There's a lot of interest from drivers, from teams, high-level teams and drivers. And like you mentioned, Mark Goossens, who has been taking poles at Rolex Daytona 24 Hours, who's been racing at all levels, was very close to Formula One. We have a good number of drivers coming in who are very experienced, but we have also a lot of young drivers who are now getting interested into the series because they can fight with people they watch racing over the years, and it's a big opportunity for also young guys because they can step up to NASCAR in USA, and it's amazing what the series has done over the past 2 years. How popular it has become down here.
Let's talk about your season as a whole. 5 wins, 10 top 5 finishes this season for your PK Car Sport Chevrolet team. Seemed like a flawless season. Were there any major speed bumps that you guys had to overcome?
We worked very hard over the winter, and then we have a summer break here in Europe. In July and August, we don't race. And we already saw before the summer break, it's really close. Fred Grabillon was doing really well. Alan Day, who's now in the NASCAR Next program, is really becoming a very good driver. He came to USA. He did some very good races in the Xfinity Series. So, the level is going up. And so during the summer break, we spend a lot of time working on the cars, testing the cars, and we knew we had to step up our game if we wanted to win the championship. So the playoffs were going to become very important. And then the first playoff race I was able to win. So the team did a fantastic job. If I compare to where we were last year and this year, I must say the team did an amazing job. All the guys, they worked really hard. And it's thanks to the team that I'm here and that I'm the champion now. And they showed also, like in Elite 2, we have this Elite 2 championship for the younger drivers and the drivers with a lower level license. There we also won the championship, and we won the team championship. So I must thank my team, my whole crew. They did an amazing job, and I hope to stay with them for a long time.
And there's no doubt about it, this program is going to stay strong, get stronger as time goes on. So let's go 5 years down the road, whether it be you continuing to run this program, running NASCAR here in the States, maybe Formula One, who knows? I never know where you're going to go. But would you like to think, and I've got to believe, there's a proud part of you that's going to look back 5 years from now feeling like you were one of the pioneers that helped to mold this Whelen Euro Series. It takes a lot of people on both sides of the fence, and obviously in behind the wheel and outside of it. But I've got to believe you've got to feel very comfortable and very proud to know that you were one of the main ingredients and the foundation of what is built and helped to build a very successful Whelen Euro Series.
Yeah, exactly. I have the perfect example. Jeff, he's such a great ambassador for NASCAR, and we talk a lot, we mail a lot, and I try to help to grow this championship because I really believe in it, and my heart is with NASCAR. And when I came for the first time to Charlotte after my first championship, I met so many interesting people, and then they work so hard to make the sport so interesting. And we try to make a good show down here in Europe, and even Jeff was surprised with the crowds we have, with the animation we have in the paddock, with how fast this championship is growing. And I try to follow his example, and I try to be a good ambassador for NASCAR and for the sports, and we try to build something over here, and I'm sure it's going to be, in the next few years, is going to be a lot different from what we had over the past years. And you already see, since I'm in there, how much we involved into a great championship. And if you compare it, we have a lot of GT racing going on here. We have a lot of prototype racing, but NASCAR is really opening the doors now, and I'm becoming strong, and then fighting against all these championships, and then a lot of drivers coming in, a lot of fans are finding us on track, and that's what we want. We want to grow this championship. We want to grow NASCAR, and we have a great example what NASCAR is doing in USA, and each time we come over, we learn, and we try to build something similar down here.
And it's growing by leaps and bounds. I mean, these are big facilities that the NASCAR Whelen Euro folks are selling out each and every time this series shows up, and they're fun to watch. I've been able to watch a lot of the races online, and some great racing from the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Anthony, we could talk all day, but unfortunately we are out of time. Congratulations again on your second NASCAR Whelen Euro Series championship.
Thank you so much. See you guys at Charlotte.
Look forward to it. Anthony Kumpen joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Back to wrap things up after the break.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
O'Reilly.
A dead battery can leave you stranded, so get yours tested for free during Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Need a replacement? Purchase a Superstart Extreme or Superstart Platinum battery and get up to $25 in O'Reilly gift cards after a mail-in rebate. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
Hey, this is NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour driver Timmy Salamito, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
There was some racing this past weekend as NASCAR Whelen All-American Series tracks continue to close up shop in 2016, including the Stafford Speedway. We mentioned the fall final was held on Sunday night. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour ran late. Before the Modified Tour, Todd Owen won the final SK Modified feature of the season. Rowan Pennick finished 19th, one of his worst efforts of the year, but it was plenty good to win the track title. Michael Ray picked up the late model win, while Tom Fern won the track championship.
La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, a track that you would think would be closed much earlier in Wisconsin, had the Dick Trickle 99. Dan Fredrickson came away with the victory over Griffin McGrath and Nick Barstead. I believe Mr. Steve Carlson collected another championship.
Yes. And Ty Majeski picked up the race win in the Oktoberfest event there, part of that big weekend. And he also won the Big 8 Invitational for the track's late model division. So a good weekend for Ty Majeski. New Smyrna Speedway, a lot of damage because of the hurricane last week. Unable to hold the Drive for Diversity Combine this week, which was supposed to happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They pushed it back only by 1 week, which surprised me.
Right.
That, they're going to have the grandstands and the catch fence and everything cleaned up and back ready for the Combine in less than 7 days from now.
Congrats out to Noah Gragson. Word is that he will be making the next step up. The driver that finished third in the K&N Pro Series East points in fifth, I believe, in the West, or one or the other. Yeah. Zip zap. Third in the West, fifth in the East. Sorry about that. Gating the truck ride when William Byron makes the jump up into Kyle Busch Motorsports for Noah. So that's good. And the West also has 25 entries this weekend at the All-American Speedway, and I see you've noted some of those drivers. One of those I saw was Vanessa Robinson, another female driver running for Jefferson Pitts this weekend, finished fifth in Super Late Model points at Tucson.
A regular at the Tucson Speedway, and hoping that this ride leads to a full-time ride next year. But a lot of drivers. Bill Kane is there. Thank you. A lot of Colton Nelson, a lot of new names that we don't really talk about on a regular basis coming in to run in the field. 26 cars for Meridian Speedway this weekend for their championship. Todd Gilliland has, 20 25-point lead.
And if he wins the title, of course, he's in line to win the rookie championship as well. He'd be the first one since Scott Lynch back in 2003 to win the Rookie of the Year title in the championship as well.
That race this weekend, we'll talk to its series champion next week here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Want to thank all the champions for joining us on this show here this afternoon. Burt Myers, obviously the Southern Modified champion, K&N East champion Justin Haley, and NASCAR Whelen Euro Series champion Anthony Kumpen. For Robbie Mays and Craig Moore, our producer, he's Buddy Long. I'm Kyle Rickey. We'll see you back here next week on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
This has been NASCAR Coast to Coast with MRN short track experts Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long. Tune in next Wednesday at noon at MRN.com for more talk from NASCAR home tracks and touring series. NASCAR Coast to Coast is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.